Welcome to Unit 11.7, Surface Area. Here is today's only important vocabulary word, surface area, the sum of the areas of all 6 sides or faces of a three-dimensional figure. First, let's talk about finding the surface area of a rectangular prism. Here is a rectangular prism with the dimensions 6 feet by 3 feet by 9 feet. I am going to use these measurements to find the surface area of this figure. The first thing I need to do is decide which side I want to find the area of first. We have done a lot of work with finding area. As a reminder, the formula for the area of a rectangle is A equals length times width. When looking at this figure, I am going to decide to find the area of this rectangle first. The dimensions of this rectangle are 6 feet wide by 9 feet long. My formula will look like this. A equals 6 times 9. Since I know that 6 times 9 is 54, my final area is 54 feet squared. That will cover this rectangle right here, and this rectangle back here, because those two are the same size. Next, I am going to find the area of these rectangles along the sides of this figure. The dimensions for these rectangles are 3 feet by 9 feet. So my formula will look like this. A equals 3 times 9. Since I know that 3 times 9 equals 27, my final answer is 27 feet squared. That covers the area of this rectangle and this rectangle. Now I just have to find the area of the top and the bottom pieces of this figure. The dimensions of the top and bottom pieces are 6 feet by 3 feet, so my formula will look like this. A equals 6 times 3, which means that the area of these pieces is 18 feet squared. Now I have found the dimensions of all of the sides of this figure. What do I need to do next? I know that a rectangular prism has a total of 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I know that 2 of those sides are 27 feet squared, 2 of them are 18 feet squared, and 2 of them are 54 feet squared. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply each of these 3 answers by 2. 27 becomes 54. 18 becomes 36. And 54 becomes 108. Now that I have these 3 numbers, all I have to do is add them together and I have the surface area of this rectangular prism. My final answer is 198 feet squared. Since I'm still talking about the area of a figure and we know that we multiply 2 different dimensions to find area, I have to add the exponent of 2 onto my answer because surface area is squared. Now let's talk about how to find the surface area of a cylinder. In order to do this, I will need a few different formulas to help me solve the problem. First, I will need to know how to find the circumference of a circle. As you remember, that formula is C equals pi times d. Next, I will need to know how to find the area of a circle. As you know, that formula is pi times r squared. Finally, I will need to know how to find the area of a rectangle. That formula is A equals length times width. First, I am going to find the area of the top circle and the bottom circle. In order to do this, I will need to use the formula for finding area of a circle. I'm going to plug my numbers in. A equals pi times 4 squared. I know that 4 squared equals 16, so my new equation is going to be A equals pi times 16. Pi times 16 equals 50.24. Since my units are centimeters, I'm going to add centimeters squared to the end of my answer. Next, I need to figure out the circumference of this circle. Why do you think that is? If I could take this cylinder and cut it open and fold out this entire middle piece, I would find that I have a rectangle. The length of my rectangle is going to be the same as the circumference of the circle. In order to find the circumference of a circle, the formula I will use is C equals pi times d. Since I know that my radius is 4 centimeters and that the radius is exactly half of the diameter, I know that my diameter is 8 centimeters from side to side. So, C equals pi times 8. Pi times 8 equals 25.12 centimeters. Since it's only a length I'm talking about, I don't need to add any exponents. Now that I know the length of the side of my rectangle, I need to find the area of the entire rectangle. In order to do that, I am going to use the formula for finding the area of a rectangle, which is A equals length times width. A equals 25.12 times 11, because that's the height of this cylinder. When I multiply these two numbers together, I find that the area is 276.32 centimeters squared. Now I have to find the surface area of my entire cylinder. Here are the numbers I am going to keep. I will need to use area equals 50.24, which is the area of the circles on the top and the bottom. And I will also need to use area equals 276.32, which is the area of the rectangle around the outside. I will need to multiply this number by 2 because there are 2 circles on this cylinder. 50.24 times 2 equals 100.48. I am going to add this number to that to find the total surface area of this entire figure. When I add the two together, I find that the total surface area of this cylinder is 376.80 centimeters squared. Here is your practice problem of the day. The dimensions of the prism on your paper are length equals 12 miles, width equals 3 miles, height equals 5 miles. Please follow all directions on your worksheet and don't forget to show your work on the back of the page.